Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tearing down a fascinating and, frankly, a slightly terrifying modern illusion. Society constantly feeds us this idea that a high income automatically equals wealth. You get the big salary, you're rich, right? But if that's actually true, why are so many people out there pulling in massive paychecks, secretly panicking about money every single month? Well, we're going to dig deep into the 7 signs of the middle-class poor trap, and more importantly, we're going to look at the exact mathematical blueprints you need to escape it.
It's a really provocative question, isn't it? Why are so many high earners quietly broke? Seriously, look around. There are millions of people living in gorgeous modern apartments with floor-to-ceiling windows. They're driving brand new cars, they're taking aesthetic vacations, and they're casually grabbing $20 salads for lunch like it's nothing. Yet mathematically, they are secretly hovering right near a zero net worth. The cash flow is definitely there. The income is high, but the actual tangible wealth, it's completely invisible. They are essentially just leasing the appearance of a wealthy lifestyle.
Let's make this totally concrete. I want to introduce you to an avatar we'll call Ryan. Ryan is 34 years old, he works as a marketing manager, and he pulls in a very solid $85,000 salary. Now, if we just look at the appearance of wealth, the left side of his life, he takes home about $5,200 a month after taxes. He pays $1,600 in rent for a really nice place, and he drives a shiny 2022 sedan. To his friends, his family, and everyone on his social media, Ryan looks solidly middle class. He looks like he's winning. But when we strip away the aesthetics and look at the mathematical reality behind closed doors, it's a completely different story. Ryan has a mountain of consumer debt, a heavy auto loan weighing him down, and absolutely zero compounding momentum working in his favor. This perfectly illustrates the massive, terrifying gap between looking middle class and actually being financially secure.
Let's run Ryan's actual numbers. When you take his small 401k and his meager cash savings, and you subtract his $18,000 car loan and his $26,000 in student loans, you get this shocking number: negative $7,000. Despite the salary, the car, and the nice apartment, Ryan is not actually middle class when it comes to wealth. He is currently sitting in the bottom 25% of household wealth. And here's the crazy part: he is far from alone. This demographic is absolutely packed with smart, educated people earning $60,000, $70,000, even $80,000 a year, who simply haven't built any assets. The money comes in on the first of the month and it goes right back out to lenders and landlords by the 30th.
Section 1. The traps keeping you broke.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How exactly does this happen? How do incredibly hardworking people stay trapped in this endless cycle? Well, it boils down to these 7 distinct signs derived from our source data. Number 1, just like our guy Ryan, you have a high income but a negative net worth. Number 2, you are burdened by perpetual $700 plus car payments, meaning you never actually own a car outright. 3, unconscious frictionless spending. This is where your money just evaporates in small taps, swipes, and clicks without you even noticing. 4, absorbing every single raise through lifestyle creep. 5, getting hit with low balance bank fees, which, let's be honest, are basically just penalties for being financially vulnerable. 6, mistaking home equity for liquid cash. This means you might look rich on paper because your house went up in value, but you have no accessible cash for a real emergency. And finally, number 7, staying permanently trapped in phase 1 investing. Notice how easily hidden subscriptions and creeping lifestyle inflation just eat away at what should be incredibly healthy paychecks?
The absolutely crucial thing here is understanding why we do this to ourselves. Why can't we just be happy with what we have? It all comes down to a psychological concept called hedonic adaptation. Simply put, this is our brain's tendency to quickly get used to any lifestyle improvements, which creates a permanent, burning desire for the next upgrade. Think about it. You buy that new car. For the first 3 months, it feels absolutely amazing. You love the new car smell, you love the tech, you feel great driving it. But then, it just becomes your normal car. The thrill is totally gone, and suddenly, you're looking at the newer models thinking, man, I really need that next upgrade. This psychological treadmill is the primary driver behind lifestyle creep. It's the exact reason why your bank account balance can stay totally flat over a decade, even as your salary doubles. You just keep upgrading your baseline.
To put this into perspective, let's talk about the real cost of just one of those standard lifestyle upgrades: $600,000. That is the staggering amount of lifetime wealth that literally evaporates across 40 years simply by staying trapped in the endless cycle of the average $700 monthly car payment. Think about that.
When you factor in the financing, the compounding interest you are paying a bank, the higher insurance premiums, the maintenance, the gas, and the habit of constantly trading up for a new ride every 5 or 6 years, you are unconsciously trading your lifelong freedom and financial independence for a shiny piece of metal that goes down in value every time you drive it.
Section 2. Escaping frictionless spending.
So how do we fix it? Escaping this trap requires specific architectural behavioral fixes. Traditional, restrictive budgeting often fails because the modern financial system is designed to make spending entirely frictionless. You tap your card, you double-click a button on your phone, and the money is just gone without a second thought. So we solve this with the two-account system. Look, humans are terrible at mental math. If all your money sits in one giant checking account, your brain looks at that big number and treats it like one giant pile of spending money. So we split it. Account number 1 is the bills account. This is strictly for fixed expenses, rent, utilities, insurance. You do not even carry a debit card for this account. Account number 2 is the spending account. This is strictly for your guilt-free groceries, dining out, and flex spending. By separating them, you bypass relying on willpower entirely. You remove the mental math that causes accidental overspending. It's exactly like moving a bowl of junk food to another room. If you change the environment, you automatically change the behavior.
Section 3. Phase 1. The grind.
Once you've plugged the leaks in your spending, you have to start building your actual wealth. And honestly, the early days of investing are really just the manual, sweaty labor of pile building. Before we go further, if you're enjoying this deep dive and you want to keep mastering financial concepts exactly like this, make sure to subscribe to Langford Invests so you never miss an explainer. All right, back to the grind. Here is a massive rule you absolutely must internalize. In phase 1 of your investing journey, your contribution level matters dramatically more than your return rate. People obsess over finding the perfect stock, but when your balances are small, stressing over whether you are in a safe fund returning 8% versus some higher-risk stock returning 16% is mathematically useless compared to simply finding a way to increase your monthly deposit by $50. In this phase, you are the engine. Your physical monthly contributions are the only thing driving your wealth forward.
Let's prove it with the math. If we look at a 30-year wealth trajectory assuming an 8% return, it becomes crystal clear. Look at the investor putting in $50 a month. After 30 years of perfect, unbroken discipline, they end up with just over $74,000. They never cross the necessary threshold. They spend their entire life grinding away manually in phase 1. Now look at the investor doing $400 a month. At 30 years, they are sitting on nearly $600,000. They reach a totally different financial reality. And the secret, the difference wasn't timing the market. It wasn't finding a secret crypto coin or a hidden stock pick. It was simply finding an extra few $100 a month in their budget to consistently redirect into investments before lifestyle creep absorbed it.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material because it perfectly captures what it feels like to start investing. Think of compound interest exactly like a mechanical turbocharger in a car engine. A turbo basically uses waste exhaust to spin a turbine, force more air in, and create massive power. It's a beautiful feedback loop. But at low RPMs, when you're just starting off, the turbo doesn't do anything at all. The engine is running entirely on direct manual combustion. You are providing all the power yourself. That is your portfolio in phase 1. Until the balance is large enough, your own hard-earned monthly deposits are the sole engine of your wealth.
Section 4. Activating the wealth turbocharger.
Now we get to the fun part. This is the mathematical shift that occurs when compounding finally takes over the heavy lifting. And believe me, it is an incredible, life-changing thing to witness in your own accounts. So ask yourself this: when does your money finally start outworking you? At what exact tipping point do your investments begin to generate more cash annually than you are physically depositing yourself from your paycheck?
That tipping point generally happens right around the $100,000 to $150,000 mark. This is what we call the phase transition. Think about the math. At $100,000, an average 8% growth rate suddenly produces $8,000 a year in new value. That is real, tangible income from doing absolutely nothing but letting it sit there. Your money now has a full-time job. It shows up every day, it doesn't complain, it never calls in sick, and it just relentlessly compounds. The turbo has spooled up. You are finally in boost. And as that balance grows, the rules of the game completely change again. Let's say you hit $300,000. At this stage, your biggest risk isn't a stock market crash. It's not inflation. The biggest risk is interrupting the compounding momentum.
This is so absolutely crucial to understand. $300,000 is not the reward for your hard work. It is the starting engine. If you pull money out right here to upgrade your lifestyle, or to remodel your kitchen, or buy a luxury boat because you feel rich, you completely destroy your future velocity. The smartest, wealthiest move you can make isn't to interrupt the machine, it's to step back and let it run.
Section 5. Buying back your freedom.
If we want to escape the middle-class trap, we need to completely redefine what wealth actually means. Real wealth is not a collection of luxury goods or designer clothes. Real wealth is total time independence. Enter the Freedom Foundation number, $500,000. Reaching this single number completely changes how someone can structure the rest of their life. You know, most people assume you need $2 million or $5 million to officially escape the rat race. But the math shows that a $500,000 nest egg, parked intelligently, can buy back your baseline freedom indefinitely.
Let's break down exactly how that math works. If you put that $500,000 into a very conservative 5% fixed income play, it yields $25,000 a year. But if you use a sensible, balanced portfolio returning a historical average of 8.5%, it yields $42,500 a year. That kicks off over $3,500 every single month in totally passive income. If you are highly intentional and you keep your baseline living expenses under that $3,500 mark, that portfolio covers your rent, your groceries, your utilities, your basic life indefinitely. You are no longer chained to a job out of raw desperation. You work because you want to, not because you have to.
This represents a massive, fundamental paradigm shift in how we think about money. There are really two ways to view retirement and wealth. Over on the left, you have the consumer brain. The consumer pictures retirement as stacking up a giant pile of cash over 40 years and then slowly draining it like a bathtub until they die, constantly terrified of outliving their money. But on the right, you have the investor brain. The investor views their capital as materials to build a machine, and that machine is designed to pay their living expenses solely from its exhaust, the yield. The investor never drains the principal. By doing this, you become financially immortal, living comfortably off the yield while the giant pile continues to grow and outlast you.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one provocative question. Look at your own life and ask yourself, are you building a pile of stuff, or are you building a pile of options? The average person is unconsciously trading their lifelong freedom for quick, frictionless spending and a bunch of depreciating assets that trap them in the rat race. You don't have to do that. Stop letting your lifestyle absorb every single raise you get. Start taking brutal control of your Phase 1 engine today. Automate your savings and build a machine that will eventually buy back your time, your choices, and your life. Remember, the future version of you is watching the choices you make right now. Make them count.
Thanks for watching. If this gave you a new way to think about your wealth, subscribe to Langford Invests. Leave a comment below with the one savings move you're making this year, and I'll see you in the next one.